In this video, we are going to talk about Cartesian coordinate system. Cartesian coordinate system has two other names. So the second name is called rectangular coordinate system. The third name is very simple. We just call that XY plane. So the graph right here, this is not a Cartesian coordinate system. I am going to give you an example so to help you to start understanding how XY plane works. So this is a campus map of San Jose State University. So let's say today is your first day in school. Your first class is in the engineering building. So can you tell me where the engineering building is? So one of the ways that you can do it, which is not the smartest way, is you look everywhere, right? From left to right, from top to bottom. You search the entire map to see if you can find the engineering building ENG. So the second way to do it is you look at the index. So in the index, they have all the names in alphabetical order, and then they tell you the engineering building is in B3. So what is B3 stands for? B3 stands for, the B is a row B, the 3 is column 3. So row B, column 3. So this is row B, and then this is column 3. So row B, column 3, we have a grid right here, a little square. So this square tells me where the engineering building is. So if you just focus on this square, do we agree that now we have a much smaller page to search for the building? So engineering building, ENG, is right here. All right, so how about this? Can you find the south parking garage for me? So the south parking garage is in row D, column 2. So D2, this is D, and then this is 2. So we have a square right here. So within the square, you can easily find the south parking garage, which is right over there. So when you look for a certain building on a campus map, so first you go to the index, and then the index, they have all the names in alphabetical order for you, and then you look for location, so D2 or B3, and then you go back to the map. That's the building must be somewhere in that grid. So before Google Map was introduced, when you try to find an address in a city, so you buy the map of that city, right? So let's say you want to find a name, let's say a San Jose Avenue, and then San Jose Avenue. So you go to the index, and then they should tell you where the San Jose Avenue is. So they use the same methods. They give you a D, they give you a letter followed by a number that helps you to locate the street on that map. All right. So this is how we find a place. So this B, comma B3 and then D2, they give you a location, right? They tell you the location of this map. So now let me introduce the Cartesian coordinate system to you. So on the next page, I have the Cartesian plane. So this is a Cartesian plane. So this plane, I just download this from the internet. So you can find tons of this on the internet. So just simply search Cartesian plane and XY plane. You can get tons of results on the internet. And this is the best picture that I can find. So in this plane, we have two axes. The first axis is horizontal axis. I call that the x-axis, which is right here. So we have the x-axis. Do you see that there is a big, bold horizontal axis? So I named that x in purple. So that's called an x-axis. And then the vertical axis, I call that a y-axis. And these two axes, they divide the plane into 4 regions. So the concept is simple. So let's say you have a rectangular birthday cake, and then you make 2 cuts. So this is the first cut, and then this is the second cut. Do we agree that we just cut the cake into 4 pieces? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in a Cartesian plane, we call that 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, quadrant 2 so quadrant 1 is on the upper right hand corner, and then quadrant 2, the 1, 2, 3, 4, they use Roman numeral. So quadrant 1, quadrant 2, so quadrant 1 is on the upper left right hand corner, quadrant 2 is on the upper left hand corner, and then quadrant 3 is in the lower left hand corner, and then quadrant 4 is in the lower right hand corner. So we have 4 quadrants, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then within quadrants, do you see that we have little grids? So that helps me to find the location of a point. So we have x-axis and then y-axis, and we have a 4 quadrant. Do you see that there are some dots on the plane? So they are points. So for the points, we use the word order pair. x comma y. Do you see that I wrote order pair parenthesis x comma y? So x stands for an x coordinate, y stands for y coordinate, and then the x comma y gives me the location of a point. So let's say we start with the purple point. So let's start with the purple point. So this point. So let's say let's label them point A. So what is the coordinate of point A? So the coordinate of point A is, we have x is corresponds to 6, right? So right here x is 6, and then what about the y? Y is 4, right? So the way we write this coordinate is we write parentheses 6 comma 4. And then what about B? So B, let's take care of the point that is not on the axis, and then I will go back to take care of the points on the axis. So we have a point in quadrant 2, so that is, let's call this a point B. So this point, what is the x coordinate? The x coordinate, x is corresponds to -9, right? And then y is 2. So that is how we find the location of this point, and x has to go first, followed by a comma, followed by y. And then in quadrant 3, do you see that there is a red point in there? What is the coordinate? The coordinate is x equals to -2, and then y is equals to -5. And then in quadrant 4, we have a point right there. So x corresponds to +10, y corresponds to -1. So overall, in quadrant 1, x and y, they are both positive. In quadrant 2, we have negative x and positive y. So if you take a look at the second quadrant, do you see that on the horizontal axis, x is negative. On the vertical axis, y is positive. So that's why x is negative, y is positive. And then in quadrant 3, do we see that both x and y are negative? So that's why x, we have -2 and -5. And then in quadrant 4, we have positive x-axis and then negative y-axis. So that's why x is positive and then y is negative. So now let's go back to take care of the blue point. So the blue points, the first one is that we have a point between quadrant 1 and 4, and that point is on x equals to 4, right? So that point is, I actually want to use a darker color for that. So that point is 4 comma 0. X is equals to 4, y is equals to 0. So if you have a point on the x-axis, y must be equals to 0. So there is one other point that I want you to look at. Do you see that there is a point right here? This point is called the origin. The origin is always 0 comma 0. X is equals to 0, y is equals to 0. And then we have a blue point between quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. That point is x is equals to 0, y is equals to 6. So on the horizontal axis, x is equals to 0, and then you take 6 points up, y is equals to 6. And then we have another point right here. So we have x equals to -7, and then y is equals to 0. Again, if you have a point on the x-axis, x has a value, and then y must be equals to 0. And then if you have a point on the y-axis, just like the point between quadrant 3 and quadrant 4, at that point we have x equals to 0, y equals to -6 right here. All right, and then moving on to the next graph. So the next graph, this graph, I start with a blank graph, and then I want you to plot these 6 points for me. So this one, you can search online. The words that you can use is, you can use like XY plane, or graphing paper, or XY plane with axes, or XY plane with labels. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to sketch the x-axis and the y-axis. So let's sketch the x-axis. So the x-axis is right here. So that is my x-axis. The y-axis is right over here. So that is my y-axis. So this is my y, and then this is x, and then you add the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. So the setup is done. What if you don't have any graphing paper online and you are too lazy to go online to download one? So here is what you can do. If you don't have any graphing paper, on your paper you can do this. You can draw a horizontal axis, you call that an X, and then a vertical axis, and then you call that a Y, and then you can label it like this: 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3, -1, -2, -3, so on and so forth. But if you don't have the grids, you might need to spend more energy to, to line up the X and the Y coordinate. So the first point that I would like you to graph is -4, 6. So X is equals to -4, Y is equals to 6. So -4, 6 we have right here. So that is -4, 6. So that would be my point A. And then the next point is 6, 3. X is equals to 6. Y is equals to 3. So we have a point right here, 6, 3. And then -7, -5. So -7, -5. So that would be my point C. And then 0, -3. So this is 0, -3. And then 2, -4. X is equals to 2. Y is equals to -4. So X is equals to 2, Y is equals to -4. That is our E. So this would be my D. And then the next one is 5, -5. So 5, -5, which is right there. So that is F. And then I would like you to sketch a few more points for me. How about this? How about G? How about 0, 0? And then H, 6, 0. And then I, 0, 6. How about J, -6, 0. How about K, 0, -6. So 0, 0 is right in the origin. So that is H. And then 6, 0 is right here. So that is G, and then that is H. The next one is 0, 6. X equals to 0. Y equals to 6. So that is I. And then J is -6, 0. So that is J. And then K is 0, -6. X equals to 0. Y equals to -6. All right. So that is how we do the plotting. So this, when you do this, we call this plot a point. All right. So moving on to the next picture. So the next picture, this one, I have the x-axis and the y-axis ready for you. I want you to plot these points for me. Okay, so first of all, let's put the numbers in. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's use another color for the y. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we have the negatives. All right, ready to roll. So the first one, -7, 1. So -7, 1. So this is my point A. And then my point B is 1, -7. X is equals to 1. Y is equals to -7. And then 0, 4. So that is my point C, and then 4, 0. So that is my point D, and then -3, -3. That is my point E, and then 6, -2. X is equals to 6. Y is equals to -2. That is point F, and then point G is 6, 0. X is 6. Y is 0. So that is point G, and then the last one is 0, -7. So that is point H. So that's how easy it is. All right, so next one. I have a few points right here. Can you tell me the coordinate? So first, let's start with, let's go from quadrant 1 to quadrant 4, shall we? So quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So in quadrant 1, both x and y are positive. Quadrant 2, we have -x, positive y. Quadrant 3, -x, -y. Quadrant 4, positive x, -y. And this is my x-axis, and then this is my y-axis. So starting in quadrant 1, this point is x equals to 10, y is equals to 7. And then this is x equals to 2, y is equals to 3. And then this point, they have a b, right? So that is x equals to 10, y is equals to 0. And then this origin, 0, comma 0. And then we have a point C, so that is x equals to 0, y equals to 6. And then the yellow points, -3, +3, and then -5, 0. And then this is a -10, y is 8. Quadrant 3, we have -10, -1, and then -5, -6, and the point E is 0, -6, and then this one in quadrant 4, that is 6, -2. This is 8, -4. All right, so that will be the end of this problem, and which is also the end of this video. So in this video, we introduce order pair is x comma y, and then we also introduce the xy plane, and then I also introduce how to put a point on an xy plane. All right, so that will be the end of this video. If you think my instruction is helpful, please let me know in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, share the video for me. I will see you all in the next lesson. Signing out for now.